Everyone that I'm old and washed up
And that, you remember the last fight, Chris had nothing left.
Do you think he should retire now? Is that the end? Do you want to see him in a ring again?
No, I don't particularly want to see him in the ring again. At any rate,
Chris Eubank Jr. announces retirement after brutal defeat from Conor Benn. This statement confirms what many feared: the once proud contender has been shattered. The loss wasn't just a defeat in the ring, it's a career-defining blow. Chris now prioritizes family over fighting, stepping away with his legacy tarnished.
I've heard people, including my father, say that retirement is on the cards. I should sail off into the sun.
Chris Eubank Jr.'s mindset is raw and honest after the brutal defeat. He's prioritizing recovery over ambition, showing the psychological impact of being outclassed by Conor Benn. This moment isn't about comebacks or glory, it's about understanding his limits and taking the time to process a career-defining loss.
Right now I'm not really in the state of mind to be thinking about next fights. I need to heal. I need to deal with what I'm dealing with, and then after that, I can start thinking about my path in the sport.
Adam Smith highlights the harsh reality. Chris's reflexes and timing are clearly diminished. The defeat was not just a loss, but a statement his body and instincts are warning him. With family and financial security now priorities, it may be wiser for Chris to step away before risking permanent damage.
Couldn't really see the punches coming, he couldn't just react, and he knew he was finished. I don't know, because I haven't spoken to Chris afterwards exactly how he felt, but if he felt like that in there, he should, seriously think about what he wants to do now. He's got twins on the way, he's made a lot of money.
Derek Chisora's take is blunt yet revealing. Chris isn't ready to throw in the towel officially, but the message is clear. The fight with Conor Benn has left lasting damage. Enjoying family is now a priority, and the boxing world is left questioning if a comeback is even realistic.
What do you think's next for Chris?
He can enjoy his twins. And,
should he retire? Should he retire, Derek?
No.
No?
Eddie Hearn acknowledges Chris' legacy, but the subtext is unmistakable. The Conor Benn defeat could mark the end. Even a promoter of Hearn's stature senses the inevitability of retirement. The suggestion to come back for a payday hints at boxing's harsh reality. Chris may no longer compete at the top level.
For British fight fans, because we've got a chance to make the biggest fight in boxing, but if that is the last we see of him, he's had a great career. I doubt it. But, it's always best to come into retirement to make sure someone pays you to come out of retirement. But if that's his lot, much respect to him and wish him all the...
Dominic Ingle doesn't mince words. Chris' decline is undeniable. Despite moments of comeback, the Benn fight brutally exposed his limitations. Family, finances, and motivation now outweigh the desire to fight. The harsh truth is clear. Chris may have proven something in the past, but his prime is definitively over.
Well, that's the end of Ebank. That's got to be, after that performance, he's not, that's, like I say, no,
You said that 2 years ago.
Yeah, but look, he's come back and he's proved everybody wrong, and maybe the motivation to fight Conor Benn, the name, what's gone off between the families, maybe motivating him to get the first win. But they've had plenty of money, he's expecting kids.
Duke McKenzie predicts the inevitable. Chris Eubank Jr.'s career is drawing to a close. The Benn defeat was more than a loss, it's a signal from his body and mind that the era is over. Fans and insiders alike expect an official retirement announcement soon.
by Shiraz, I'm sure of that. And he's not a silly man, he's not. And I would envisage over the next few months he would announce his official retirement.
Spencer Oliver emphasizes Chris' undeniable talent and charisma. Even as decline sets in, his contributions to British boxing remain significant. While retirement may be forced by circumstances, his impact as both a fighter and a character ensures his legacy will be remembered long after he leaves the ring.
Not just that he's a big personality and he sells fights so well and he's a big character, and the press conferences, the build-up to fights, and what he delivers in the ring. The guy is a serious talent, and he'll be missed when he's retired, that is for sure.
Carl Frosch brings the skepticism that fans have been whispering for weeks. Chris Eubank Jr.'s retirement announcement could very well be a strategic move, designed to maximize future earnings or leverage publicity. Yet, considering the brutal defeat against Conor Benn, there's every reason to believe this could be sincere. Chris has reached a crossroads where his body, mind, and family obligations demand reflection. Frosch highlights the uncertainty that surrounds his next steps, leaving fans debating whether this is the end of a storied career or a temporary pause. Boxing is as much about timing as talent, and Chris now faces the ultimate decision.
Retirement, I'm not sure if it's genuine. Maybe it is, but I don't know what he's going to do now he's retired. But the fact of the matter is, he's announced his retirement. He's either trying to leverage for more money and putting himself in position, so he's got people begging for him to come out, or he's actually genuinely going to retire. Not sure what he's going to do.
With Frosch's doubts in the spotlight, the focus shifts to the decisive fight that forced this choice. Eddie Hearn lays bare the magnitude of Chris Eubank Jr.'s defeat. Every round, Benn dictated the pace, punishing Chris and leaving little room for recovery. This wasn't just a loss, it was a statement. Eubank's inability to control his emotions and respond strategically sealed his fate, exposing the physical and mental toll his career has taken. Hearn emphasizes the historic significance of Benn's victory, a milestone for the Benn family and a stark reminder that Eubank's prime may be behind him. For Chris, stepping up in weight class added extra pressure, and the result underscored that the end of his competitive peak is undeniable.
Schooling, really. He won every round, dropped it. 10 more seconds, the fight's over. Different kind of fight, obviously, to the first fight, but needed to be. Needed to box smart and not use his emotions in there. I thought he boxed really well, busted him up to the body, and massive win for a welterweight to come up to middleweight and avenge that defeat and finally get a victory for the Benn family in the 4th episode.
Spencer Oliver's words cut straight to the heart of Chris's decline. Once a formidable force in the ring, Eubank Jr. now appears diminished, a shadow of his former self. Oliver tempers his critique by acknowledging Conor Benn's skill, but the narrative is clear. Chris has reached the endpoint of his professional journey. Fans who witnessed his prime can feel the weight of the fall, and the term shock fighter underscores how unrecognizable he has become in the ring. Oliver's reflections serve as a sober reminder that talent alone cannot defy age, injuries, or psychological tolls, confirming that retirement may be the most logical next step.
And we looked at a fading, aging Chris Eubank Jr. there, a guy that was a shell of his former self. Again, not taking anything away from Conor's performance, but Chris, has clearly come to the end of the road. He looked like a shock fighter there tonight, which is quite sad to see, if I'm honest.
Tony Bellew breaks down the essence of why Conor Benn's victory over Chris Eubank Jr. was so methodical and dominant. Unlike previous fights where emotion clouded judgment, Benn approached this bout with surgical precision following a strict game plan. Even under relentless pressure and punishment round after round, Benn maintained his composure, absorbed the blows, and countered effectively, showcasing a rare blend of intelligence and resilience in the ring. Bellew highlights how Benn's maturity allows him to separate emotion from execution, a critical difference at the elite level. Hitting hard in the crucial rounds without deviating from his strategy reflects a disciplined mindset that many fighters struggle to master. For Eubank, facing someone who never wavered in focus exposed his declining adaptability and inability to impose his own game plan. Benn's approach was a masterclass in tactical boxing, patience, and mental fortitude, leaving fans in awe of his calculated dominance. This performance signals a clear shift in British boxing hierarchy.
Pounding round after round after round, the feints, it offset him, the game plan by Tony and Conor, and the most important thing is he keeps to it. He give it everything he had in round 7 and 8, and he landed 2 big hard shots, and he still didn't deter from the game plan, and that shows.
Dave Allen gives a brutally honest perspective on the state of both Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn Jr. While Benn secured an impressive victory, Allen puts it into context. The win came against a shell of Eubank, who is far from his prime. This isn't to diminish Benn's accomplishment, but Allen stresses that it doesn't automatically elevate him to the top tier of the sport. The comparison to historical fighters like Nigel Benn underscores how standards evolve and highlights just how much Eubank's decline affected the fight. Allen points out that while Benn is talented and disciplined, there's still work to do before he can be considered among elite champions. This commentary also reflects a larger narrative in boxing. Victories mean little if they come against opponents who are past their peak. The harsh reality for Eubank Jr. is that his legacy is now intertwined with the manner of his defeats, making Benn's win a defining moment in both fighters' careers.
Away from it, he lost to a faded Eubank, and then he just beat a shot to bits one. That don't make that. He's not 147. He's not 147 champion elect on the back of that.
No, can he win a world title at 147 now though?
Maybe, but the champions aren't. They're not A-level champions. They're like the B-level champions. Barrios, Crocker, they're very good fighters, but they're not great fighters. But I'm still not sure he'll beat him. I don't think Conor Benn's a fantastic boxer. Nigel Benn, 1990, Nigel Benn would have flattened Chris Eubank Jr. in one round tonight.
Carl Frosch points to a critical flaw in Chris Eubank Jr.'s performance. A fighter of his experience is expected to respond under pressure, but instead, Eubank absorbed punishment without mounting meaningful retaliation. Frosch highlights that even simple defensive tactics, clinching, countering, or taking a brief pause were largely absent, leaving him exposed. This passive approach, combined with visible signs of fatigue and pain, reveals how much the loss to Conor Benn has taken from him physically and mentally. Frosch's observations underscore a painful truth. Eubank has lost the tactical sharpness that once made him a feared competitor. His inability to adapt mid-fight magnified Benn's dominance, and the lack of reaction compounded the severity of the defeat. For fans and analysts, it's a sobering reminder that boxing isn't just about punches landed, but also about timing, strategy, and resilience, areas where Eubank struggled significantly in this fight.
Parker wasn't throwing much back. He should have either grabbed on, took a knee, or at least threw a bit more back. He was sitting back with his guard up, taking punches. It looked messy. It looked like he was under attack, and he was hurt around.
Johnny Nelson delves into the emotional aftermath for Chris Eubank Jr., suggesting that pride played a critical role in his performance. Beyond the physical punishment, Eubank's mindset and previous statements created added pressure. Nelson implies that Chris was so focused on getting the job done and protecting his reputation that it backfired, causing hesitation and mistakes in the ring. This internal conflict between pride, legacy, and the reality of his declining abilities exacerbated the punishment he suffered at the hands of Conor Benn. Nelson's insight highlights how boxing is as much mental as physical. Eubank's struggle to reconcile expectation with execution likely contributed to a lackluster performance. Pride, in this case, became a double-edged sword. It drove him to step into the ring, yet it also magnified the embarrassment of a decisive defeat. For fans, it's a reminder that the sport can humble even the most confident fighters.
I don't want to have egg on my face. I've got to get a job done here. So after the things he said the last time, he knows he probably mugged himself off. I think that probably hurt him more than anything, hurt his pride.
Chris Eubank Jr.'s decision to step away from boxing after a brutal defeat to Conor Benn marks the end of an era in British boxing. From the highs of thrilling victories to the lows of recent setbacks, Eubank's career has been nothing short of dramatic and unforgettable. Fans, pundits, and fellow fighters alike have reflected on his legacy, some questioning if this retirement is permanent, others praising his achievements and dedication to the sport. Regardless, the impact of his name, his style, and his larger-than-life personality will be remembered for years to come. Now, the question is whether Eubank will return for one final fight or if he truly hangs up the gloves for good. What do you think about Chris Eubank Jr.'s retirement? Is this the right decision after the loss to Conor Benn, or do you believe he still has a few fights left in him? Drop your thoughts in the comments, share this video, and make sure to subscribe for more boxing updates and insider reactions.